What's up, guys? So I'm going to go over your torso position in a trap bar deadlift and how it's different compared to, for example, a straight bar deadlift, a conventional versus sumo. So a trap bar deadlift is inherently more quad dominant, so you are going to get into a little bit more of a quad dominant position. So obviously when you set up in the trap bar, you're going to stand right in the center. Your feet are going to be about hip width, kind of similar to how you would do a conventional deadlift, except you have all this space for your knees to move forward. So in order to get your chest a little more vertical, and a mistake I'll see in a lot of athletes is they come down to grab the bar and their chest is facing the floor. So now I'm kind of relying more on my hamstrings, glutes, and lower back to pick this weight up. So a cue that I'll use is either A, pull the chest up, B, drop the hips, or C, push your knees forward. So all three cues are essentially trying to do the same thing. So chest up would be just thinking about pulling your chest up. I'm also dropping my hips and I'm pushing my knees forward. So when I'm in the bottom position, if I had a logo on my shirt, you should be able to see that full logo if you're standing right in front of me. So a good way to kind of see if you're in the right position or not is if you're down at the bottom, if somebody in front of you can see that logo on your shirt. Okay, so again, if you're ending up like this in your deadlift, in your trap bar deadlift, think pull the hips up, pull the chest up, drop the hips, and push the knees forward. From there, it's just a leg press up. And the next thing that I see a lot, a common mistake I see in the deadlift, is just poor breathing mechanics. And naturally, when I ask somebody to take a really big breath in, instinctively you're going to breathe right into your chest. So if I tell an athlete, hey, give me as big of a breath as you can, instinctively I see this. And the chest rises. Okay? If that's the case, we're using a lot of muscles in the upper back, the traps, and the chest to get air in, and not the main mover of getting air into your lungs, which is the diaphragm. So what I call this is S breathing. All right. So if you're doing this correctly, what you should see is your stomach expand first, and then the chest rise up. Essentially, your pelvis is like a bowl, and we're trying to fill that bowl up, not just around the stomach, but also around the lower back, with air to create more stability. Okay? So it looks a little bit something like this if you're breathing correctly. So what you should have noticed there was my stomach expanded first and my chest expanded last. Now, if you've never done this correctly, this can be actually very hard to do, and it actually can be really hard to get a full breath of air in if you're not using your diaphragm correctly. So the drill that we'll use, we'll lay down on the floor. You're going to have one hand on your chest, one hand on your lower back. This automatically puts your spine in a more neutral position, makes it easier to get air into the diaphragm. So when you breathe in, the first thing you should feel is the stomach rising up, and then the last thing you should feel is the chest. So it looks something like this. After a few reps of that, you build context on how to breathe correctly. Then you can stand up, practice it standing up. And then once you have that down, you can go into your deadlift and actually perform that the correct way. So what I like to do is breathe at the top first, come down and get the bar. So you do your breath in, come straight down, and push to the floor. What that does is it allows you to have more strength and stability in the lower back region, in your core, and actually drive more from your legs and the hips, which we want as the prime mover in your trap bar deadlift.